So this is over at Rita's house. She is looking to get a bid actually for a lot of stuff. So just as a point of reference, this is this house over here. I'm sure that you remember it, Sherry, but we had done this a few years back. Me and Ben had done this, so still in great shape. There's some maintenance, like some polymeric sand that needs to be swept in. I told her that if we do this other thing, we'll do the polymeric touch-up for free because there's a lot that's going on over here. So, all right. So what we've got here is we've got a little planter here we're replacing everything with Fond du Lac and Sedan for the walls, and then bluestone, patterned bluestone for the treads to match what we had over here. So there's a few things that we're going to be changing about the configuration about this. So the first thing is that so as we come up here, we've still got 4 steps and we've got a landing in here. But the problem that we run into, and I can tell that the video is kind of going to be weird because of the shadows. Let's see if I can get this. This wall that we have along here, it's quite a bit below grade here. So what I would suggest that what we're going to do is, you see how I know this is really overgrown, but there's a step right here, step here, step here. I want to say there's 11 steps in total. Instead of having the steps go all the way back to here, we're going to get the steps up a lot higher faster. And what that's going to do is that's going to get us out of the grade here a lot faster because we've got a couple of trees that we're just not going to be able to put wall stone next to the steps. So if we can get it up higher faster, we're going to be able to, oh good, we got shade now. We're going to be able to get it out of grade and not have to deal with as much wall stone. So one thing to note, because we had to get up to this landing, we've got 4 steps, so we're about 4 feet back here. This area right here is actually, this walkway is not square to the house. I am aware that it goes at an angle. Right here we're about 2 feet away from the house, and at the top we're about 1 foot away from the house. We are aware of that. It's just how it has to be in order to get us up to this landing height over here without being too low elsewhere, yeah, dealing with all sorts of other stuff. So this is the first part. We've got 11 risers. It's about 80 inches, I want to say, 80 inches of total drop from up there to down here. There is a there's a downspout right here. I'm thinking that we put in, because we're going to be getting this up higher, we put in a small wall, 2 feet long, and a little bit of a return just for that area. But then we put a downspout, right around here and kind of drop it and let the corrugated tube run out to the front of this wall right here just to exit onto the driveway. So, yeah, so that's what we got right here. Sedan, Fond du Lac, and bluestone. So, as we get to the top here, we are going to transition to bluestone steppers. So once we get past the steps here, like where it's, a more formal area, if you will, we're going to go to bluestone steppers. We haven't discussed too much about this. She was pretty exhausted from her trip to Burma, whatever. Currently, she obviously has Platteville as her steppers. I don't know if it's obvious, but that's what she has, is the Platteville. And I'm thinking that because we're doing these in bluestone, we should probably do bluestone the rest of the way here. But it kind of depends on what it is that she goes with. So bid A is up to the gate here, okay? And that's, I want to say 27 feet, if I remember correctly, from the gate to the bottom, and then it turns left like 4 feet or something like that. So, all right, so the second part to this is the wall that's back here. All right, so we're going to go on the inside of her gate here. See the wall that goes along here, over to the side, and then it comes over here, and then it extends 4 feet beyond the gate here. So it's a pretty tall wall back here. Let's see what we've got here. It's 17 feet from the gate to the corner here, and for, I would say, about a third of it, it's at the full height of 43 inches, and then it steps down, and at the gate it's 22 inches, and then for the 4 feet that extends, it goes down to grade, so it steps down pretty fast. But let me just take a step here so you can get even a better view of what the fence is doing above it, so you can see what we've got going on here. One thing to note is obviously they have a lot of brush in here. It is mounted up in there, but I'm going with the full 43 inches all the way around because grade is what that is there. So we're going to bid to replace this, this wall right here. And then, so that's number 2. Number 3 is going to be for the steps that are going through the walls here. Okay, so as part of the steps we'll also include this thing right here. I'm slightly reconfiguring this so that way the all the steps are actually, this first step, you see how it extends beyond here? We're actually going to move it right even with it and make them 1 foot deep steps. So that way you can use regular blue, just regular bluestone, and it lines up nicely because it's 4 feet back. No, I'm sorry, it's 5 feet back from the front of this wall to where the wall returns here. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps. So we've got 5 steps, and it should line up nicely with that. And then it returns here 5 feet, and it goes from 17 inches, I want to say, is what I measured here, down to grade over there. These steps are 3.5 feet wide right here, and then we've just got this little planter here as well, that I don't remember the measurements right offhand. This downspout, we're just going to leave it as it is. There's really no good place to exit it. It is what it is at this point. So that's bid number 3. Bid number 4 is going to be to replace the steppers and the step here. So this is a 3 foot wide landing, 3 foot deep landing, and then a 1 foot wraparound step. I want you to notice that it does extend beyond the house here, Nick. So this is just a little piece of wood that they extended here, but in order to get it centered on the door, they had to extend it a little bit further. So we've got a wraparound step that's extending a little bit beyond it on the right hand side. So yeah, that's number 4, I want to say. Number 5 is going to be for this step right here. All right, so we'll call this house step number 2. So this is house step number 1, wraparound. This is house step number 2, and this is going to actually require a span pour. There is a well, an oil room underneath here. Let's see the glass here. So we're going to have to take this out, and we're going to have John come in and do a span pour across this. We're at 6 feet wide, and we're at about, actually it's more like 5 feet as I look at it, if this is included in it. I called for it, actually this isn't, so this will work out fine. We're going to pour that span at 6 feet wide and 4 feet deep. So once again, this is a wraparound step. So the landing will be 4 feet wide and 3 feet deep, and then the wraparound will equal 6 and 4. Yeah, so that's that part of the bid. Finally, we've got this. So from the steps right here where the wall kind of comes across, can you see this? Going across here, the stepper's going to here, and then we go up here to her backyard. We've got, we're going to put in 5 Fond du Lac slab steps, and this is actually where we're going to transition over to Fond du Lac, because we've got bluestone, but then as we get along here, this is their older style of stone that we're not replacing beyond this point, and it goes all the way around. So at the top of these steps right here, we're going to transition to Fond du Lac steppers coming here, and then turning and going up the hill into the back there. And there's 5 steps that are in here. We're just going to use 5 Fond du Lac slab steps. Quite frankly, we can use ones that we have at the yard if we want. We're trying to keep this as casual looking, kind of as ingrown as possible, so that way it doesn't look like it's, I don't know if you can tell, it has a little bit of movement to it, so it's not imperative that it's perfectly straight. This isn't perfectly straight. We're just going to come up over here, and we're ending at the top. See this boulder right here? Right beyond it is the last step, so I measured about 2 feet beyond that, and that's where we're going. So, all right, so now we have the access part of this. There's a very good, well, for the front area there, we need to rent we're going to need to rent a dingo. That makes the most amount of sense to get it back there. We can't come from this side of the house because there's a huge wall over there and fence, and we just can't get there. If we want to get to this, if she wants to go with all of it, we can use the dingo and come to this backyard. Another option that I just recently found out here, I haven't talked to her, I only noticed this recently, is that this whole area back here is hers, and I'm just going to walk all the way to the back. I don't know if you can see it yet, there is an alley back here. And she has a chain link fence back here as well. So we've got some overgrowth, which I don't think is going to be that big of a deal, especially if we do it now, because we'll have to maybe chop down a few of these little guy trees. But if we take out a section of fence here, there's an alley back here. That's 52nd. Huh. You know what? I think the Nelsons live at the very end. Raised patio, raised bluestone patio with the bluestone at the base. Is this the Indianola or whatever? I want to say that it is. It's the 52nd and maybe Indianola. I think that's what I see down there. Yeah, if we can get in here, that'll also help. Either way, it's long treks. Let's see here. If we, yeah, we should actually be able to get the dump truck, pull it right back here, and we can take out a section of fence right here. I know you probably can't see it, but then we can just dump stuff right into the dump truck. We should actually be pretty good, and we can just cut down a few of these little trees that are real small. Then that would make access significantly easier. So let's bid it like we can do that. I'll be able to talk her into that. Yeah, right now, just so you know, I am walking on a stepper path, but we're not touching this stepper path. Let's see, as we drive along here, there is, I just want to point out, there is old sewer, but they just got city water. So this, I think, is an old well. But if we come in here, come across here, come down here. Yeah, we should be able to get down here. Getting down into this area, now that might be a different beast. We might consider still getting a dingo for a week, because then we can, if we do this, actually we wouldn't even need it for a week, but let's say that we demo this with the dingo and dump it into, say, the bucket up here or something along those lines. I don't know, maybe we'll have Nick look at this video and see how he wants to go about it. But otherwise, for this front area, the dingo will be able to make it up here, or make it through this. It's just, we'd have to start obviously at this side and work our way out. So, yeah, so that's how we're breaking it out, and these are the projects that she has in mind.